Driver! Driver! Skid plate, you're okay. Driver! Driver! Right there, keep coming. Easy. Keep it turned. Keep it turned. Okay, you're gonna start climbing, driver. Slow, slow. Keep coming. Passenger's gonna start going down. Beautiful. Nice and easy. Passenger. And you're down. Passenger. Right there, straighten out. You're gonna climb? Keep coming, keep coming. Driver, driver, driver. Keep coming. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Harry, watch out. Back up and give it a little bump. Straight. Back up. A little more. Right there, bump it. That's not a bump. Back up. And stay straight. A little more. Right there. Stay in the gas and bump up and then let off. Perfect. Right there, right there. Straighten out, straighten out. There, he's move. Easy. So go driver's side. You're almost there. You fucking crank the wheel right over that.
You can't turn when you're stopped at 35.
No. Perfect. Come drivers on that. Good, you're just getting caught up on that rock, but I think you could dodge it, to be honest. Driver, driver.
Good on that.
Go.
Hey guys, Daniel here, doing a little review on my 63 leaf spring swap for the first gen Tacomas. It's pretty simple. I'm not going to get into too much detail here. If you do want more detail, I'll refer you to Travis's shop with his SAS Tacoma. Super detailed. He's going to give you a lot of the angles that you need. And he also does it a different way than I did. I did not drop the gas tank. I did not disconnect my axle because I wasn't confident with not having a garage and being short on time with getting the axle angle correct and relined back up. It wasn't really hard. But also I didn't see a need to drop the gas tank. He did it because, I don't know, he couldn't weld in there, but I got my welder in there pretty fine. I also did this all on this cheap little easy weld 4-knee welder and the plasma cutter. Champs. Let's get into it. So when you first do start taking your truck apart to do this swap, you're going to want to drain all your brake fluid, because there's a lot, especially if you still have your ABS module. There's a lot of brake fluid to drain. Your ABS module used to sit right about here, but I deleted it because it actually did not work. And I'll show you why it didn't work. A little backstory behind this truck. It's been in my family for about 13 years. My older brother bought it used, a year old, and then immediately, like a year after he bought it, got a lift on it. And those cheap fucks, really, he's a cheap fuck, because he didn't want to fucking pay for it or do the work, did the lift wrong on the front. They did not extend the wires, and therefore they snapped. And I don't know, they must have contacted something, the metal frame or something, and burnt the ABS module out, because the fucking thing never worked. And then when I bought the truck, nothing really worked. It braked like shit. But ABS delete, worth it. This thing brakes like a champ now. It brakes more like how a street bike or a dirt bike or a mountain bike with hydraulic brakes would brake. It's super sensitive, but also, like, I don't feel like there's a delay with the computer trying to decide what's going on, which is nice because I ride dirt bikes and street bikes and mountain bikes, so now it's like just an easy transition braking. Just all feels the same, really. I kept my old brake cylinder because worked, nothing wrong with it. They do sell a non-ABS master brake cylinder for like $150, and I thought that was just useless because it doesn't give you I don't know, this part or some shit, and you kind of need all of it. The reason you need all of it is because all of these lines are gonna, instead of going to the ABS module, it was over here that had 6 lines tying off of it. It has all just been condensed down to 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. These 2 bottom lines feed the front brakes, driver side, passenger side, okay? And they just go directly to the T-mounts down there. See? Directly to the T-mounts. And from those, let me see if I can get it. It goes to a flex fitting that goes to my brake caliper. Now, if you don't have a lift in the front, 1, why don't you have a lift in the front? And 2, you definitely need to get way longer brake lines for your front lift, because these things are tied already. Kind of using them as limiter straps, which is that's gonna change when I do the front. They're definitely gonna be longer. Hey, what are you doing? Be good. Other side. See, I used all the old fittings, just put new lines to them, because remember, you got 6 lines coming off this ABS module right here, and they all just get deleted. And get some rags ready, because there is a lot of brake fluid in there. Once you have successfully drained your brake fluid, you can finally start taking apart your truck in the rear. Now you got 6 bolts that hold this. 1, where's it? 2, and then where's the third one? I always get confused. Hold on. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Got Nigel. Oh, right there. 3. And then you got 3 on the other side. 1, 2, and then 3. Take those 3 off. You're gonna need a friend, because this bed's pretty heavy. It doesn't look heavy. And you're like, oh, it's just a cheap bed. It shouldn't be too insane, but it's definitely like, I don't know, 100 pounds. It's just really awkward. You're not going to get it off by yourself. Trust me. I'm definitely going to need a friend for most of this job, just to help you hold things while you throw tacks in it. Help you get the bed off. Help you line stuff properly, and kind of just keep an eye on things. Once you drain your brakes, you're going to have you're gonna have 2 lines coming back here, okay? You only need one of those lines that goes to the front off of the little T's up there. These ones. You're not gonna need one of those 2. It doesn't matter. You could use this one, you could use this one. Doesn't matter. I chose this one because I'm gonna just cut this off. Once I start doing my front lift, I'll have the room to cut it off properly, make it look good. But you're gonna get those and get that one line back here off the ABS module, and you're gonna attach it to your flexi line that comes off the ABS module down to your T. Okay? And then from your T, you could use the old brake lines. I didn't, because of the way I was running the leaf springs and the shocks, and I didn't want my lines to interfere with any of that, or if any of this broke, I didn't want my lines to be in harm's way, because you know, you could weld leaf springs together, but brake lines are a different story on the trail. Now you might be asking yourself, what are these little things? I'm drum brakes in the rear, but when I do my disc swap, these are going to go, these are just mounting brackets for hard line to flexi line adapters. So my adapter just clips in right here. It's got 2 clips that hold it, and those will be good because I'll get I think it's 8 to 10 inch flexi line, flex brake line to go into the disc. And so I kind of pre-mounted those adapters to hold that, because I don't want to be grinding and welding around the paint anymore. Kind of try to do it all in one shot. Okay, next, when you do your swap, you're gonna need to cut everything off your axle. So make sure anything electrical wise is disconnected, and when the truck bed was off, I just zip tied and stuffed everything up with my charcoal canister and try to just keep everything out of the way. But everything gets cut. You're gonna need to cut your exhaust because it is not gonna run the same way with the new setup. And even if you do it like this, or you do it the way Travis does it, he had to cut his shock too, because it wrapped around here, and it wasn't a problem when it wrapped around here, because the shocks actually mounted to the frame from the axle. So everything was out of the way before, but when you do your new setup, it's gonna be in the fucking way. So just cut it You can see I turned mine because I'm making room for my anti-wrap bar that's gonna go somewhere right here to that back truss where the carrier bearing is. So I turned my catalytic converter to the side. Once I get the anti-wrap bar, I'm just going to take it to a muffler shop and have them try to tuck it as far up against the frame as they possibly can. Just try to give me more clearance for off-roading, because those things do get caught up. Once you get everything cut, it is also very, very, very important that you support your axle and your frame properly if you are going to keep your axle on. So I had those two jack stands there at all times. I made sure that they were in a good enough spot that I did not have to move anything again. So you want it out of the way of where you're going to be putting your welder, and you want to make sure that you have enough room to do all your measurements and stuff. And then also you're going to want to jack up the frame. So I did have, it was pulled up a little bit forward, but I did have some bricks and then jack stands to hold the rear bumper up, to give myself some more room. Now, once you got everything cut off and you're ready to start mounting everything back up, remember, you do not have to disconnect the drive shaft, and you do not have to drop your gas tank. You guys like that? You guys like that? I was putting it together and then a hole started just fucking melting, and then I tried to block up the hole and it just melted it some more. So I turned my welder to 1, and this took me like 2 hours to fill. Just filled the holes. It was a pain in the ass. I absolutely hate mufflers. They just melt. That's why I'm gonna take it to a muffler shop next time. As far as location goes for your shackles, you can see this is the old shackle mount, and this is the new one. That is approximately, let me my shitty tape measure out, 2.5 to 2 5/8 forward off of the old shackle mount. Ooh. Wow, someone needs a paint lesson. The new shackles, I believe I got from Rough Stuff. They do sell a complete 63 leaf swap kit at Rough Stuff. I will try to leave a link in the description. Now, I was able to get a pretty good weld around the whole shackle, and even on the other one. See, he dropped his gas tank because he was afraid he wasn't going to be able to weld in there, but I got a pretty good weld in there without taking my gas tank off. I did put a piece of 30 gauge sheet metal, because I just have 30 gauge sheet metal laying around, on the side to block any sparks from getting onto the gas tank, even though it's got a skiddy on it. Still didn't want any little sparks going back there and blowing me up while I was working, because I don't know, I watched too many stupid movies. Now, when you're lining these shackles up, they were actually pretty easy to line up. I just kind of made sure my axle was straight. Nothing really moved on me when it was on the jack stands. And then kind of just set all the shackles together, kind of put them all together. Laid them onto the axle. Didn't put my U-bolts on or nothing. And then laid this up while my friend was holding the rear shackle in place. he was just holding this kind of like this while I moved this into position. And then we lined everything up, kind of made sure we could get it even on both sides. And then I just did 4 little tacks on the corners. Just did 4 tacks to hold it in place. And then I lined this one up. Let's see if you can see. Oof. You can see my awesome grinding. This doesn't matter because when I redo my rear bumper, this plate just bolts on. It's going to come all off. I'm going to raise the bumper up about 3 inches because I dragged my tailgate when I was on the trail last. I'm going to try to give myself more clearance in the rear. Now, these shackles actually went pretty much spot on, almost maybe an inch back from the original shackle location. And, oh, can you see it? No. I thought that was the original shackle location, but no, I'm just a dick with a grinder. Yeah, the original shackle location is kind of where you're gonna put the new one. This shackle angle with weight on it is about 44, 46 degrees. And that gives me enough travel up and down. Even with weight on it, I could put like 300 more pounds on this, and this barely goes up like 2 degrees, which is compared to what it was. All right, walk over here. Now, you might be asking yourself, Daniel, that's pretty straightforward. That's pretty straightforward. Why the fuck did you do that? Well, kids, let me tell you something. My old shocks, they're used as bump stops and limiting straps. And on my last wheeling trip, I actually flexed so hard that my leaf spring, because the shocks sit right here originally, right? My leaf spring pinched my shock. It pinched it in almost all the way down to like the bar. And so I did this to one, make sure that doesn't fucking happen again. And secondly, this gives me more articulation on a trail than the original one would be. A lot of people are gonna hate and go, "Oh, it's not gonna work. They're not gonna compress properly. You should change the angle." And I'm like, all right. Well, I've been driving it for 3 weeks. I've loaded my dirt bike and my tools in here and drove around doing 90 like a dickhead everywhere. They're fine. They don't really give a fuck at what angle they're at. They're handling turns, bumps. There's very little rear shake at 90 miles an hour. All of the shake that I'm getting at 90 miles an hour is from the front. Because if you can't see this front end, those are done. Those are fucking toast. Look how close that is. All of this is trash. Alright. And then look at this. Do you see that? That thing's toast too. So all of the vibrations I'm getting are from the front end now. There's no more vibrations coming from the rear end. This angle works. And if people want to say it doesn't work, well, I just proved that it works because I'm sitting here on week 3 driving like I don't give a fuck because they're working. So if you read on some Jeep forums, they do this to give better articulation on the trail. And to be honest, if you use heavy duty shocks, they're going to handle the compression. They're not going to give a fuck what angle they are. You're not going to have to revalve them or nothing. So, you know, they work. You can do whatever you want. Travis, when he did his swap... hold on. It's not going to work. You're just going to have to go with me. Now Travis, when he did his swap, put his shocks about 9 inches from frame. Okay, and my shock is currently at 15.5 from frame, so not that much more. Not that much more. They're both at 15.5, by the way, and they work. I'm really pleased with how they've been acting and this angle. And you can see I just welded the shock mount to the leaf spring, and then also on the bottom, I welded it to the bottom plate. Really try to make sure that that the welds in there were really good, really solid. Fucking puddles everywhere, corners wrapped. And then the doing good. I welded those in so that I could swap them if I needed to easily without needing 2 tools. And so they've been working really good. Let me try to zoom out. Alright, so 63 swap, new leaves, new shocks. And honestly, guys, if you really have a problem with it, if you watch Travis's shop, he mounts his right about here. Okay, and then go 9 inches out to right there. So you get almost pretty much straight up and down. You know, and it probably works for him. He's probably really happy with it. He doesn't have any complaints, but I mean, I'm also really happy with this. This is working great. And not a lot of noise. And the muffler being under here, it actually has not made the truck any quieter. And it hasn't really caused me any problems being under here. I first didn't cut it and just had it right there, and it fucking melted my plastic. If you're wondering why that's like that, it's because I cut the muffler. I didn't move the muffler. I was like, fuck it, it'll be fine. Went on a test drive, came back. So make sure you move your mufflers, okay? It's very important. Oh, also another important thing. See this e-brake line? I tried to move it. I had this flipped. Because I actually scraped everything that was on the bottom. That's why this looks like this, because it actually got scraped on my last wheeling trip and broke. So it's all bent and shit. But whatever. Works now. I had this on the top too tight. Flipped it to the bottom just tight enough. Okay. And then also I moved. There's a mount. This was mounted. Actually, you know what? I think this was mounted to the top of this, to some other mount. Doesn't matter. I cut it off, threw some tacks right here to get everything up and out of the way. So now I don't have anything really hanging below that can get caught on rocks anymore, which was my fucking problem. Which is why that broke, which was frustrating to fix. But it's okay, because now nothing is going to scrape on the bottom, except for that again. That scraped, kind of fucking broke it, caught a wire, almost caught the wire. As you can see, this definitely, I'm trying to move this. Cut this right here, move it up. Give me 3 more inches. Because you know, 3 inches is a lot. Ladies will tell you. What other thing? Oh, the boxing kit. Guys, important. The boxing kit. You need it. It's going to make your truck feel stiffer when you're flexing out. It'll make it feel stronger, like before when I shook the truck. everything would shake. It felt kind of flimsy. And I was scared that someone was gonna shake my fucking truck apart. But now I can just sit here and shake her all day, and she doesn't fucking really move because the boxing kit really stiffened the absolute crap out of her. Where did I get this boxing kit? I believe the boxing kit came from Trail Gear for $180, $50, $200. I don't fucking know. It was some money. Spend it. You're gonna be happy. The boxing kit goes all the way back. You have 2 circles right here in the old frame, and your boxing kit lines up over the first circle. Pretty much lines right in, almost perfectly. I had to kind of knock some metal inward a little bit because there's like a 1/4 inch gap, and the welder was not wanting to fill it easily, so I just kind of knocked it down a little bit. And just filled in the weld, filled in the hole. I don't know if you could see that, where it ends. You can't really see where it ends. Oh, there you go. So there you can see where it ends. Almost with this rear truss. Okay, and then also, angle of this side. Yep. Just fucking blobbed it all on. Blobbed it. Went in there. And you don't have to do the welds all the way across like I did. My buddy was like, why don't you just do 3-inch, 4-inch long weld lines across the whole thing? And well, 1, I was trying to get better at welding because I don't actually have that many hours on the welder. And 2, it was kind of fun. So make sure you blend your welds together if you're going to do a whole long line. Not the prettiest, but it is all heated the fuck in there. Burnt it in. And then painted it. Very important to paint the stuff because we got a lot of rust in these Tacomas. Oh, before I forget, when you're welding in your boxing kit, to paint the inside of the frame, you need to use weld-on primer made by 3M or anybody else. I went to a welding shop and got my weld-on primer. But weld-on primer, the inside of the C-channel, and then the back side of the plate before you weld it in there, so that the inside of the C-channel is painted and not going to rust. Okay, because you might protect the outside from the rust with the new paint, but the inside is still susceptible if it's not properly coated. And if you use any other paint, even a heat resistant paint, like for the engine blocks, it's just gonna melt it away. You need a weld through, weld on primer. Doesn't matter the color. I think mine came in gray. And then also, while I had my truck bed down, kind of see my signature, my little tag. When I had my truck bed down, I actually painted the bottom side of it because there wasn't even rust. There was like a rust spot and then like a tiny itty bitty little rust spot, and I was like, oh, just clean it, paint everything. Which I'm happy I did, because that's just gonna give the bed more longevity. And I'm trying to just make sure everything gets longevity because you know, this truck spent 10 years with my brother. It's gonna spend 10 or more years with me. And so I want to make sure rust is not a problem. Shocks can be a problem. Axle can be a problem. Drive shaft is a fucking problem, but don't worry, I'm taking it to Bill's. So it's not going to be a problem anymore. But rust, I don't want to have to fucking fix rust. Rust is such a pain in the ass. There's some more angles of my truck. Alright guys, I'm going to try to leave some links in the description on where I got my stuff. You know, boxing kit from Trail Gear, 63 swap from Rough Stuff, and these shocks. Don't tell the other Toyota guys, but they're off of a fucking Jeep Rubicon Gladiator. Shh. Alright, I'll catch you guys in the meantime.